Growth. It is one of the few things that is consistent within human life. Externally, we physically age. We go from children to adults. Our lives progress with the march of time. Similarly, the world around us also grows. From the tiniest sapling to the largest of cities, there is always a level of advancement that ebbs and flows. Internally, we go through our own metamorphoses. Our tastes develop and mature. Our interests change and expand. Our personality and perspectives on ourselves and the world around us never stagnate for too long, even if there merely is a slither of something new. Growth is a consistent cycle we all are witnesses to and are agents of. One of the many cycles of growth we particularly go through is self-improvement. Regardless of if it is intentional or not, regardless of if it flourishes from events that impact us for the better or for the worse. We strive for it. In our hobbies, in our skills, in our work, in our confidence, in ourselves. Just as growth is constant, so is improvement. But in this world where everyone around you seems so ahead and certain in their lives, happy and stable in their relationships, career, or mental health, it's easy to feel left behind, when, despite the hardship endured, nothing seems to improve. You're back where you started once again, fighting for the light at the end of the tunnel that just seems to shift further and further. And in that scenario, one can only feel desperate, obsessed with improvement, and the need to be, or at least feel, better. This is where 21 Pilots' 7th album, Clancy, comes in. 21 Pilots are no strangers to exploring a specific theme or concept within their albums. Vessel's theme is very much in its name, with the Pilots exploring themes of existentialism and purpose, comparing the body to nothing more than a vessel and exploring where purpose goes from there. From then on, in line with the story the Pilots have decided to tell, the lore, the album themes all link to and build off of one another. Blurryface is about identifying the struggle, identifying what we're fighting against, hence why the name of the record refers to Blurryface. It is Tyler identifying his adversary. Trench is an album rooted in the theme of rebellion. Coming from an album like Blurryface, it's about now joining the battle against what you have identified, rebelling from their control and resisting them. And this is exemplified with the introduction of the Banditos, our rebels, and the free land of Trench. Scaled and Icy explores issues of relapse and self-isolation in mental health through the core themes of propaganda and censorship. This is aided by a return to Dema, and both the imprisonment and exploitation of Clancy's writing talents. Clancy as an album is very similar in continuing this pattern. It is an album about Tyler's need to be better than what he was, or at least feel it. The record mainly covers this message in relation to mental health, with songs like Backslide and Snapback that lyrically lament this need to overcome past issues within mental health that have only persisted with time. Vignette and Navigating themselves are more explicit in Tyler's desperation to feel better. Vignette contains lyrics of Tyler clinging to the promises, whilst Navigating has pleas for advice. Meanwhile, The Craving, Jenna's version, documents this need to be a better lover, with cyclical lyrics that reflect a lot of self-doubt. Similarly, Midwest Indigo also focuses on relationships, but rather illustrates this want for some of Tyler's relationships in themselves to be better, as it explores complicated feelings with home, or even those who constitute home in the first place. There are even songs that focus on this desire to be better in his career. Backslide and the singles version of Craving features prominent regrets and insecurities regarding the things Tyler has written and created, whilst Lavish in its satirical glory can be interpreted as a call for arrogant artists and the music industry to be better, to make that career path better. Even the lore itself in the album reflects this larger theme. Having returned to the rebellion now with the key to destroying the bishops, Clancy pursues this path of besting the bishops finally. However, there is one core difference between the way Clancy presents its theme and previous Pilot's albums. That difference is how the record utilizes its track list to tell a narrative that is emblematic of the larger theme. Going back to looking at this album from the perspective of mental health, nearly every song on Clancy matches a consistent lyrical structure of trying to eradicate an internal struggle through an unhealthy coping mechanism, but only exacerbating the issue or dealing with it short term as a result. And this cycle is employed purely because of this desperation to feel and be better mentally. Coming from an album like Scaled and Icy about self-censorship, Overcompensate fits perfectly as both an album opener and a continuation, being about repressing anxiety and uncertainty through the coping mechanism of excessive recklessness and overconfidence. Whilst Next Semester is mainly about anxiety and panic attacks, you can argue that it features suicidal ideation as a way to rid oneself of anxiety, with a lot of the hit-and-run imagery present in the lyrics and the music video. Backslide is about repressing insecurities and covering up problems, essentially masking and pretending that there is nothing wrong. The Craving, as aforementioned, is about a consistent cycle of self-doubt, but is unique in the sense it doesn't really feature any form of coping mechanism. It is quite literally self-doubt left unchecked and unresolved. Midwest Indigo is a little bit more complex and can be interpreted in a variety of ways. It can be about trying to cope with seasonal depression by seeking comfort in home. With the titular allusion to Ohio, home can quite literally be the physical place for Tyler, but as seen with the wintry imagery throughout the song, seeking comfort from Ohio is not a healthy coping mechanism, as it only exacerbates seasonal depression. Meanwhile, if you interpret home as a concept rather than a place, an interpretation bolstered by personification techniques and how Josh seemingly takes the place of Midwest Indigo in the music video, the people that constitute home are not always healthy coping mechanisms for seasonal depression when those relationships are toxic. So to TLDR about that one, it can be about trying to find comfort in toxic relationships, or places that actually further exacerbate depression to try and cope with seasonal depression. And after that, Routines in the Night provides a far simpler meaning. It is about using insomnia as a coping mechanism to avoid internal struggles. Vignette documents using addiction to deal with suicidal ideation, whilst Navigating is about using disassociation to cope with grief and loneliness. And in a song that literally no one would have expected to have even the slightest bit of angst in, Lavish does have a few lyrics, such as Napoleon Complex, that can allude to using the validation received from fame to deal with one's own insecurities, sacrificing one's authenticity and morals as a result to achieve such. Eagle-eyed clickies may have noticed that these aren't all the songs from Clancy, however. That's only 9 songs on a record that sports 13. That's because, after Lavish, there is a shift in both the tone and messages seen within the remaining songs. So, snapback. Lyrically, it's an acknowledgement that these previous coping mechanisms aren't helpful. The chorus quite literally states that he has to snap back, which means to quickly recover, especially after losing so much progress and facing many backslides, especially if he wants to snap next. Which, considering that Tyler wears the blurry face paint on his neck, can be an allegory for defeating his internal struggles. The song is an epiphany that he wants to be healthier and can no longer excuse being this way of constantly suffering because poor coping mechanisms are not dealing with the issue. From there on, Oldie Station shows another acknowledgement, another epiphany. It is a healthy acknowledgement of the battle of mental health and an acceptance of it, an understanding of the necessity of its existence. Meanwhile, At the Risk of Feeling Dumb provides a cautionary warning after now being armed with this introspection, with this understanding and acceptance. It calls for discretion against ignorance, not only to the struggles of others, but also to the struggles of the self. The first step of getting better is realizing that there is a problem after all, and it advocates for people to look out for each other because we're all going through our own battles. All of this culminates in the final song. Paladin Strait, the stretch of water between Trench and Voldsoy, the area in between rock bottom and being better, being in that place and frame of mind Tyler has wanted to be in since the start of the record. The song details another attempt at succeeding against these internal issues, at finally feeling better, but this time it is armed with healthier coping mechanisms of proactivity and reliance on others, and a change in mindset. He has more trust in himself, more trust in the people around him, and has a far more proactive mindset in challenging his struggles. Paladin Strait is far more than Tyler putting into practice a more positive mindset and trust in others, however. It is an acknowledgement and acceptance of the battle of mental health, regardless of if the outcome results in success or failure. The acceptance of uncertainty with "can't be sure that I'll make it" implies that he's okay with the notion of failure, not as anxious about this prospect as seen in overcompensate's overconfidence. We also have the 1-minute silence, punctuated by birdsong, which is meant to act as a commemoration of both those who made it and those who are no longer with us, symbolized by birds flying free. The song ends on the confrontation of the culmination of his insecurities, who not only belittles him with "so few, so proud, so emotional," a phrase that on the surface level mocks Tyler's newfound optimism and proactivity, but also mocks the support and strength he gathers from those around him, as FP is the slogan of the Skeleton Clique, but also acknowledges him with "Hello, Clancy." We never know if he succeeds or not. The album cuts off there, but it is optimistic because the journey painted throughout the record shows a growth in mindset, a shift from total eradication and desperation to understanding, trust, and patience, not only with others, but with oneself. There is now this determination not to compromise on his mental health or on being better by choosing destructive and unhealthy coping mechanisms. Not only that, but there is fundamentally an acceptance of all of the mental health cycle in its purest form, from success to failure. Perhaps this is why we do not lyrically get a conclusion to Tyler's battle here. Yes, I'm aware breach exists, but just let me cook about this record. Because regardless of the outcome, whether you best an insecurity or relapse, it's okay. All you can do is intend not to compromise on your mental health and be healthy. All you can do is have the intention to do better and carry on. This is why Paladin Strait is so poignant. In the pursuit to be better mentally, Tyler hasn't achieved his initial idea of what better is. The idea that was present at the beginning of the record of just totally eradicating his struggles. But his idea on how to be better has now shifted. It has shifted to this idea of acceptance, of just intending to be better in any way he can and continue surviving. He hasn't succeeded in his pursuit fully yet either, but he's okay with that, even if he fails. He is prepared to face his struggles head on now, prepared to face the final obstacle in a healthier way, a way that is better for him, and he will keep trying regardless of the outcome. He is going to take pride in survival. In an interview regarding Clancy, Tyler stated that this record was the first album where he felt he was making a circle back to things he had said before. He was coming back to where they as a band had started, and this is palpably seen in the album's overall message and lyrics. Clancy itself features a lot of references to Blurryface's signature 9 songs, the 9 songs featured on the album cover. Backslide is the continuation of Stressed Out. Midwest Indigo also documents seasonal depression like Ride. Lavish and Laneboy share a similar disdain for the toxic nature of the music industry and the struggles it brings. Vignette and Goner are both about suicidal ideation. Navigating and Doubt both explore abandonment issues and isolation. Heavy Dirty Soul imagery is practically rife throughout Next Semester and Overcompensate. Fairly Local and Routines in the Night both focus on cyclical problems, and The Craving focuses on self-doubt and that need to be better in a relationship, which is also seen in Polarize, whilst having that general vulnerability also detailed in Tear in My Heart. One could even argue the decision to make 9 songs about different struggles only to be contrasted by a final 4 that represent the inverse, the recovery, is intentional. The number 9 has always been incredibly important to this band. 9 circles, 9 struggles, 9 bishops. It all goes back to Blurryface. Instead of just revisiting or expanding upon these struggles, however, the extra 4 songs added to the end of the record show progression, show an attempt at finally coming back to deal with what was originally brushed under the rug. This is why the album ends with Tyler confronting Nico. He has revisited every single struggle that constitutes Blurryface as a whole, going through them one by one to see where he is at with them, how he is coping with them, questioning why he hasn't improved. He's gone through self-reflection on how to truly do better, and then confronts Blurryface as a whole. It is revisiting what was thought to be the old struggle of Blurryface in his entirety to properly take him down. This is why the album is named Clancy, rather than after another character, place, or concept, because this is what Clancy represents. He represents that intent to try and be better, that intent to fight, whether that be in Tyler's own pursuits of mental health, or within the lore, where we know Clancy is someone who will always try and escape from Dema, no matter how many times it takes, no matter how many cycles.